Okay, dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video, we'll be looking at the 2 remakes and 2 other minor changes to the various heroes and pets, okay, that will be coming this week. We'll start off with Carl first. So Carl was actually a hero who was primarily doing fixed damage and applying brand stacks to his enemies, and he will survive through stealth. But because of all the later updates, the efficiency of debuff effects, as well as status immunities and reduced duration of debuffs, kind of cucked him quite a bit. Okay, and at launch in our server, he was just not used at all. And the stealth effect was actually quite difficult to activate. And because of that, they want to increase the efficiency of his fixed damage and also additional damage dealt. And overall, the idea for Carl is to become a hero that can do very high damage. So for fixed damage, you can see from his passive, the first change is to increase the amount of fixed damage that he has. Okay, and on top of that, they are going to remove the brand effect completely and give him a new effect called Vengeance. So if he is in Vengeance, okay, if he has the buff applied, he will be able to do defense ignoring damage to the enemies in that particular state. Also, his stealth effect is going to be moved to the passive, so whenever an enemy or ally dies, he will get an unremovable stealth effect. So in this case, it is much easier because it's on a passive now and he doesn't have to proc the ultimate skill to be able to get into stealth, which means his survivability will definitely have a bigger increase, okay, in PvP. His skill 1, previously it will do defense ignoring damage to all enemies, fan shape, and applies brand. Combo skill will be the same thing but deals additional damage to every brand stack. In this case, the change here will be him getting the Vengeance effect instead. Okay, and he will do additional damage to enemies when he is in Vengeance. Basically, that's... Take note that the Vengeance effect is a buff effect provided to Carl himself, so it is more controllable rather than applying brand stacks on the enemy, which can be actually removed. For his skill 2, it is completely changed. So not only is it able to remove debuffs from himself, he will also be able to do additional damage to enemies if he is under Vengeance. So because there are so many CC comps happening around, the debuff cleansing is going to help him for sure, so he can actually cleanse himself and be able to continue attacking all the way. So the same idea is also applied to his skill 3, whereby he will teleport to the target, which is going to be the one with the lowest HP now instead of the support target, and he will deal damage accordingly, AoE damage, 100% to remove buffs, and instead of having a brand applied, now he will become unstoppable, and this unstoppable buff is unremovable. He will also be able to have a 50% chance to grant himself Vengeance effect. Okay, and this range of teleportation is going to increase from 7 meters to 15 meters, which means likely he will be able to teleport to the appropriate target to kill them. So he's going to be able to attack with better stability, because imagine after casting the stealth and then he's also able to apply unstoppability, you know, he's going to be surviving really well because he's going to be immune to disability, and he will also be able to reduce damage taken from the stealth. So overall, they really try to increase his survivability and also the amount of damage output he can deal. And finally, for his ultimate skill, same thing, he will teleport to the target with the lowest HP, he will give himself an attack speed increase, and he will also bless himself with Vengeance. He will also do additional defense ignoring damage if he's already in Vengeance, and of course this teleportation range is also increased. So overall, you will see a very consistent idea throughout the entire new Carl skill set. And currently in Korea server, he's definitely one of the better, if not the best, in the top teams. One of the top heroes used alongside Maze, Platin, and with Eileen. In our server, he'll definitely be used with Maze and Platin for sure. And with the last hero, you could go with someone like Pike Plus or even Clemith, okay, so to provide additional support for your other heroes. And finally, for his EE, instead of every 3 basic attacks, it will become every 3 attacks. He will do the fixed damage, and he will also have a default increase in attack speed of himself, which means he's going to have a default crit rate applied as well because of the passive effect. Next up for Kris. So Kris's remake is actually quite minor. Take note that they only remade Kris 2 weeks ago in Korea, which means moving forward, whatever things or whatever changes that happen in Korea server could only take 2 weeks to apply to global server. So just a heads up, when Korea server launches some remakes or launches anything new, they could come really soon. So for Kris, his passive wise, the change is that he will remove all debuffs when his HP is low instead of resetting his skill cooldown. And the skill cooldown on his passive is actually removed, so it's one continuous effect right now. No longer has a 150 or 120 second cooldown for that. And the main reason for this is so that when he drops to a low amount of HP, he's able to retaliate even better. Okay, instead of being kept in a debuff state and then you can't do anything. For his skill 1, nothing really changes, but his skill cooldown will be reduced by 1 second from default, from the current amount. And there will also be an AI added to this particular skill, which will prioritize attacking targets with instant death already. So this is going to be a very great help for him, because not only can he be able to help finish off enemies more effectively, this will also help him to synergize with other instant death heroes like Woyong, Espada, and in future Mythic Rudy as well. So this is definitely going to help in terms of creating a death meta back in the game. For his second skill, it doesn't change except only to get a 1 second reduction in cooldown as well. And for his third skill, which is the fear inducing skill, it actually also doesn't really change, but the fear effect will actually change. So movement speed decrease will become 90%, and not only that, when they are in fear, they will decrease all their status effect resistances by 80%, which means very likely you can death them while they are running away, which really increases the efficiency and effectiveness of the death comps, right? Because previously, even if they are in fear, there's a chance that you can't do anything to them if your death misses. But with this decrease in status effect resistance, death is going to be way more effective than it previously was. His ultimate skill does not change at all. Okay, no additions, no whatever. But his EE is supposed to give him an additional edge. Okay, for his EE, he will actually apply the Hell Lot effect on himself. So this Hell Lot effect is going to give him HP recovery, okay, and increase his resistance, all status effect resistance, allowing him to ignore the enemy's control effects to a certain extent while being able to maintain some. However, this effect is only intended to last at the start of the battle. So if the battle actually drags out, okay, these effects will be gone. So just take note, obviously they will want this dev team to make battles really fast, right? It's not supposed to drag out for too long. So if it starts dragging out for too long, then something is wrong with the setup. So this Hell Lot effect only applies at the beginning of the battle for a certain period, okay? And overall, I feel that Kris's instant death is already really strong. So these changes are pretty minor but help in terms of efficiency and his survivability in the early part of the battle. And they also feel that Kris already has enough instant death effects. So nothing more is added, but they tweak the fear instead. The next up is Ming's Nerf. So currently, her EE's effect is that on every single attack, she has a 100% chance to reduce enemy skill gauge. But because obviously this is just way too strong, and you see Ming's everywhere in every single team right now, so they have decided that it's time to stop her, and it will become every 2 attacks where she will be able to reduce the enemy's skill gauge. So efficiency is halved in a sense, okay, but let's just see how this goes, because it's still possible that she will be run still quite commonly, because there's no one to really replace her in terms of her utility and effects, right? So she's definitely still an option, but just maybe tame down a little. And finally, we have Ruu, which is the pet that I couldn't cover because they didn't release his skill set previously, and now he's instantly gonna be remade, okay, 2 weeks later. So Ruu, For his active 2, he increases block rate by 70% and block efficiency by 20% for 30 seconds. You will see that this is kind of like a drop, a decrease from his previous active 2. But not only that, now he increases allies defense by 20% as well for 30 seconds. So in this case, it's actually a buff in terms of the tankiness of your entire team, because you not only are getting block rate, block efficiency, you will also be getting defense increase. Okay? And for his passive, so he'll retain the defense increase, and he will instead be able to reduce damage over time effects by 50%. So damage over time effects will apply to your burn damage, poison damage, bleed damage, and instant death damage. He will also increase ignore defense resistance of all your heroes by 20%, and for every 10 hits he will grant all allies a shield equal to 20% of their max HP. This is unremovable, okay, for 3 seconds, and increase the attack of the target of the highest attack by 10% for 10 seconds. This is also unremovable, and you can stack this attack increase up to 10 stacks, which means 100% attack increase. So think about it. If you are using Ruu teams, usually you will probably run Maze, the Maze, Rudy, Karma, Alice comp, or Karma, Clemith, Rudy comp, right? So Ruu is definitely going to target the DPS at the backline and increase the attack of that particular DPS to make him the one and only most powerful damage dealer in that entire tank team. I mean, that's how the tank team works anyway, right? To have one damage dealer and the rest are tanks and supports. So in this case, there could be a chance that this particular comp will return, okay? I mean, for myself, it's already pretty strong, just that I was running Ming on it. But now with Ruu, it's possible to try, and he will definitely affect the efficiency of Ace's damage because of the cuck in terms of the bleed, okay? Having bleed damage, that could be quite a big thing against Ace. So let me know what you guys think of all the remakes covered for tomorrow, and which hero is the one you're most excited about. Big shout out to my channel members, Chilling, Jude, Gonzalo, Nick, McGee, Yamaki, Kevin, Hala, and JDM for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much, and see you!